Today we're going to have a short tutorial on how to create values for you first and second for your company. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of exercises. So you might want to stop the video every once in a while, do the exercises, come back after you finished it. But I'm going to take you through what we do in our workshop very quickly about how we help people figure out what their core values are and then how to transfer those core values into their company. So the first thing I want you to do is take out a piece of paper and I want you to start writing. And I want you to spend 20 minutes writing down the important values that are for you and drive your life. Now, I would like you to get to 25 of these if possible. But if you only get to 10 or 15, that's okay too. So the first thing I want you to do is take out that piece of paper, write for 20 minutes, and when you're done with that, come back and visit me again. So, did you get the 20, 15, 20, 25 values down? Now here's the next thing I want you to do. I want you to label each of these values. And I want you to label each of these values in 4 distinct ways. There'll either be a core value, which is a value, something that happens in your life and happens 100% of the time in your life. For example, one of my core values is personal responsibility. 100% of the time, I am going to be personally responsible when I deal with people, and I expect people to be personally responsible with me. If they're not, it drives me absolutely crazy, and somebody who is not personally responsible is not going to be very successful working with me or in any of the companies I have. So that's a core value. The next type of value is what I call an aspirational value. And that's a value that's something you might want to have, but isn't 100% of the time. Now, I've seen people say, gee, I want to have a learning organization, and they're not quite there yet. Now, they're moving in the direction of becoming a learning organization, or they're personally moving the direction of becoming a lifelong learner, but there's a lot of times that they might not do that. So that would be an aspirational value. And the third type of value is what we call a permission to play value. Now, this is a value or something that's important for you that you're going to do 80 or 85% of the time, and it's going to be something that's really important for you, but every once in a while you let it slide. You know, it could be something like some people say telling the truth. Now that might be a permission to play value because every once in a while they say, you know, not telling the truth is probably more important than telling the truth. So that in that particular case, that would be a permission to play value. And the final value is what we call accidental values. These are values that kind of sneak into our life, and then we sit there and say, okay, we don't want these values, but they're there, and I'm not quite sure how it became a value. So I want you to stop the video, go and do that, and come back when you're done. Okay, so now you've labeled your value core values, aspirational values, permission to play values, and accidental values. Now the next thing I want you to do is go down your list and cross off everything that's not a core value. So when you get that, stop the video. When you get that done, come back and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so you've crossed off all your values now. Now let's go to the next step. And the next step is to actually, really simple, is just count the amount of values you have left as core values. If you have between 3 and 5 values, that's great. If you have more than 5 values, here's what you need to do. You need to look at the values you have, and the weakest ones I want you to cross off. If you have less than 3 values, I want you to look at your aspirational values, and those who you are committed to having become core values, add that to your core value list. So now you should have between 3 and 5 core values or aspirational values that are going to become core values. Now these are 1 or 2 word descriptions. It's not a full sentence. So let's go to the last piece of what we want to do. So the last piece of what we want to do is we want to take these values and we want to put a clarifying statement around it. For example, one of my core values is simplification. Now, if I say the word simplification to you, you're not going to really know what I mean. But if I sit there and write a clarifying statement around it, and my clarifying statement for simplification is, I take the complicated and I make it simple, I bust jargon and use everyday language, makes it pretty clear to what I mean by simplification. So I want you to stop the video, and I want you to write a clarifying statement around each of those 3 to 5 core or aspirational that will become core values. Okay, so now we've done that. So now we say, okay, we've got our core values, we've got a clarifying statement around each of our core values. Great, what do I do now? Well, now we introduce that in our company. And this is where it's really important that you've been honest with yourself while you've been doing this. Because the truth is, if you're not, the people in your company are going to know that you've not been honest, and they're going to see you as a liar. Now, you don't want to be seen as a liar. You want to be seen as somebody who says, these are important to me, and these are the way we're going to play in our company. Now, the reason you want to do this is it's going to help you with hiring, it's going to help you with discipline, it's going to help you with client attraction, it's going to help you with your vendors. It's basically going to help you with all the stakeholders of your business, and it's going to help you figure out whether somebody should be at your company or they shouldn't be at your company. Now, I've done several videos in the past on how to hire, and this fits into what we call the fit factor part of the hiring basis, or having the right person in your company, if you like Jim Collins, who has right person, right seat. What we've been talking about today is about right person. Right seat are the technical skills and having people do the right things, but fit factor or right person actually becomes more important than the other 2 areas. So I always start with fit factor. I hope you do too. I'll be making other videos about how to use values in your company in the future, but this is the first step you need to do, and what it does is going to help you figure out what your values are. When we go back to our next video on values, it's going to be how you use these values and why these values are so important to you. Hi, I'm Josh Patrick. You've been at The Sustainable Business. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope to see you back here really soon.